Episode 25 of Wasteland Weaponistics, the N99 10mm pistol. The N99 10mm pistol first appeared in Fallout 3 and has reappeared in just Fallout New Vegas. Despite appearing in only 2 Fallout games, the N99 has quickly become the most iconic of the Fallout universe's 10mm pistols. The N99 in the Fallout universe was a replacement for the older N80 pistol. What the N80 pistol is, we don't know, as the N80 has never appeared in any Fallout media. The N99 was adopted in 2051, giving it 26 years of service life by the time of the Great War. However, I believe the Fallout universe's military started to replace it shortly before the Great War, but we'll go into that when we get into another one of these 10mm pistols. Now, why both the N80 and N99 pistols use an N prefix instead of an M, we don't actually know. With military rifles in the Fallout universe, we know that the R series replaced the M, so that's why we have the R91 instead of the M91. So it might be something similar with pistols. The N99 seems to have been designed by a third party for Bethesda, instead of them designing it themselves. The third party is known as Liquid Development. All Fallout 3 concept art of the N99 is credited to them that I can find. Now, they clearly based the design of the N99 on the real-world Desert Eagle, which, if you don't know, has also appeared in the Fallout universe. Actually, it's appeared in more games than the N99 has. If you don't know how a Desert Eagle works, it's rather unique among pistols, as it is a gas-operated rotating bolt pistol. It works almost like a really compact rifle, in a way. Now, why would they base a 10mm pistol on a Desert Eagle? We know that the Desert Eagle is a large caliber hand cannon of a gun. Well, it's not actually that far out of reality. See, there is actually a version of the Desert Eagle in real life that fires the 41 Magnum cartridge. Not 44 Magnum, 41 Magnum. Or in metric, 0.41 of an inch is 10mm. So, a 10mm variant of the Desert Eagle already exists. Yes, 41 Magnum is way more powerful than 10mm auto, but it is a 10mm round. While the N99 is based on the Desert Eagle, there are some changes and nuances. One might notice that the pistol has this extremely large and bulky front end. There is this piece of concept art, supposedly for Fallout 4, that was leaked, that shows the N99 in a little bit more detail. We don't know if this concept art is official, if it was for the main game, or maybe it was for the Creation Club at one point, but it does show us what the different parts of the N99 are meant to be. The top of the pistol is covered in a ventilation system, and the tube at the bottom is a laser emitter. That laser emitter is why this pistol is most likely so bulky. See, old laser sights were giant compared to the small concealable things we have now. The earliest ones had to be mounted on top of the gun, and they were just as big as the gun they were mounted on in some cases. My guess is that the N99 was a competitor in the Fallout universe's offensive handgun weapon system, Trial. I've mentioned this trial in previous videos, but it was a trial by SOCOM for a pistol that could be used as a primary weapon in close quarters, almost like a PDW, in a way. SOCOM wanted a pistol that could fire thousands of the 45+P ammo, without any significant maintenance to the pistols. The trial had a 30,000 round endurance test. The pistols also had to work in temperatures from negative 25 degrees Fahrenheit to 140 degrees Fahrenheit while exposed to mud, ice, and sand. They also had to be able to fit a laser sight and a silencer. So the pistols that came out of this trial in real life were extremely beefy. In fact, only 2 manufacturers even qualified to be tested, Colt and HK. Colt lost, HK won. If you look at both of the pistols fully kitted out, you see that both had an undermounted laser sight that is very bulky compared to today's standards, and look huge on already huge and bulky pistols. So that's one possibility for the N99. The top-mounted ventilation system makes sense to increase cooling. It has the undermounted laser sight that was required of the real-world offensive handgun weapon systems, and it can also be fitted with a silencer, as we see in Fallout 3 and New Vegas. There's a file on a terminal in the Citadel that actually backs up this theory of the weapon being the Fallout version of the offensive handgun weapon system. The 10mm N99 sidearm was the standard issue military gear following the phase out of the N80 pistol in 2051. The N99 was known for its ability to survive in the harshest of conditions and in many tests. The weapon was able to reliably be restored to working condition after extended periods of time exposed to hard elements without maintenance. The N99 proved to stand up to its claims, and as a result, it is one of the most common weapons found in use in the Wasteland. While many civilian weapons were ruined beyond use in the exterior conditions following the war, the N99 is commonly able to be restored to working order by anyone with the most basic knowledge of firearm mechanics. However, an N99 in poor condition can often deliver low target and armor penetration, frequent jamming, and greatly reduced accuracy. Fortunately, the weapon was produced in great numbers, and units are available for replacement parts. That file references a lot of real-world requirements of the offensive handgun weapon systems. Harsh conditions, reliable, easily restored to working order after extended periods with little maintenance. So, we know that it was used by the pre-war US military. We also know several civilian factions before the war used them as well, like Vault-Tec, as we can find many N99s in the East and West Coast vaults. In the post-war years of the Capital Wasteland, they are used by nearly every NPC faction. Random Wastelanders, Raiders, Mercenaries, and the Brotherhood of Steel can all be found using the N99 10mm pistol. We know that even the Enclave still makes use of the N99, as Colonel Autumn has his own personal 10mm pistol, though Colonel Autumn isn't always seen with his N99, sometimes preferring a laser pistol instead. When we go to the Mojave Wasteland, we see a different attitude toward the N99. It's not as common as it is in Fallout 3's Capital Wasteland. The reason is Josh Sawyer. Someone asked him a question about this. Was it a deliberate decision to make the 10mm weapons very common in vaults and the 9mm weapons common outside of them? It felt like 10mm pistols were more military or Vault-Tec issue, while 9mm were civilian. His answer is yes. 10mm weapons seemed more vaulty/futuristic in my mind. Despite this, several factions can still be found using the N99 out in the Wasteland. The NCR military police stationed at Camp Forlorn Hope carry an N99 10mm. Few members of the Mojave chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel can even be seen with N99s as well. The many raider gangs like Jackals, Fiends, and Vipers all have them. The Crimson Caravan Company has a few, and they are sold by the various vendors of the region. There is also the famed weathered 10mm pistol, which is acquired from the classic weapon pack, except it has a custom, very weathered looking skin. Speaking of the skin, we're going to go back to Fallout 3. Because the silvery look of the N99 is not how it originally looked pre-war. In the Operation Anchorage simulation, we see that the N99 originally had a blued finish. Well, that's about it for the N99, a pre-war military pistol that serves well into the future of the Wasteland. Hopefully the N99 appears in more Fallout games. Bethesda is planning to return to the Capital Wasteland as part of a future expansion to Fallout 76, so it is possible for the pistol to return to the franchise. I also hope to see it in the Fallout TV show, because you could easily make one as a prop from a Desert Eagle. Make sure to subscribe to this channel and my main channel, Trooper Fofo, for more Fallout content.